guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Hairsa, also known as the Hairsa Way, and today I'm giving you all of my Black Friday sale indie makeup recommendations. Very exciting. If you've been following me for a while, y'all know I love me a sale, and although I do shop throughout the year, sales here and there, Black Friday for a lot of us indie makeup lovers is Super Bowl, okay? We love it because while brands do sales here and there, some brands don't do that many sales throughout the year. So Black Friday is when we go big and we go hard and we get anything that we might want because who doesn't want to save a little bit of money, okay? We're all for it. I'm all for it. And the brands I'm going to be talking about today, I'm going to look down because I've taken notes. I don't want to miss any, are Touch of Glam, Shine by SD, Quicksand Cosmetics, Beaute Bar, MBA Cosmetics, Dandelions Cosmetics, Sydney Grace, Blend Bunny, and Devinah. So what I did for brands that I have a lot of singles from, specifically Touch of Glam, Shine by SD, Quicksand, and Devinah, I picked 5 categories. So I recommended five singles from each brand. I did 1 iridescent, 1 light shimmer, 1 dark shimmer, 1 neutral, and 1 must-have / hidden gem. Like 5 is a good number to recommend, and I tried to do something across the board that anybody could enjoy. You know what I mean? I went for light, dark, neutral, everything. I try to capture everything in just 5 singles. And for brands that I don't have as many singles from, such as Beaute Bar and MBA, I only picked 3 that I thought would be staples for anybody watching, whether you're a beginner or not. So that's the categorizations I went with. And then Dandelions and Sydney Grace are mostly mattes, so for those I just picked, again, staples. For Blend Bunny, although Blend Bunny is not a singles brand, I had to include them in this video, so obviously I recommended 3 palettes from Blend Bunny. And the reason why I had to include them is because Blend Bunny is such a big brand in the indie makeup, so I couldn't just leave them out, okay? They're very popular in the indie makeup world. I had to include them in this video. Before I get into the meat and potatoes, first thing, I have provided swatches in this video, which is, if y'all know me, it's a big deal. This is a big deal. I got out of my comfort zone. Swatches kind of freak me out texturally, like touching shadows and stuff, but I really try to get over that for this video because I wanted this to be a very helpful guide if you are looking to purchase something or if you just want swatches of a certain shadow. You know, I just wanted to really be as helpful as I could. I wanted to talk about 2 things. First thing, swatches. Please keep in mind that skin tone, undertone, lighting, device that I'm filming this with, places where I swatch the shadow play a big part in how the shadow looks when you're watching this video. And probably even other factors that I didn't even forgot to mention. So please, please, please keep that in mind, that things might appear different from what they are in reality. Unfortunately, I just wish there was like a way that I could show you what my eyes see. I know that sometimes swatches can be so freaking tricky. I try to do my best, but again, I know that some things that I can't even control can make the shadows look different. So please, please keep that in mind. I wanted this to be a helpful guide and source for y'all to make an educated decision. But again, sometimes swatches can be little bitches, okay? They can be deceitful. I think it's always very important to talk about when we talk about sales, especially Black Friday sales. This is a big season of the year that there's like sales being thrown at you left and right. I'm not trying to necessarily urge you to shop responsibly, but it's just a friendly advice. I understand that sometimes we can get carried away and temptation is, you know, it's hard to resist these great sales, okay? And there's so many things that we want. Trust me, I know I'm guilty of that myself. I've done that in the past. I've gotten carried away and everything. These sales are just too good to resist, right? But in no way, shape, or form with this video am I trying to get you to buy anything. I just want to provide it as a helpful resource, whether you watch it this year or even next year before Black Friday next year. It doesn't matter. I just want it to be helpful, but please, 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 if there is certain financial goals that you want to reach or you just want to resist and not even look in the directions of these sales, know that this is not a way to tempt you. Again, I just want to provide a helpful resource. Do what's best for you, okay? These brands and these products are still going to be there, okay? They can wait. Do what you got to prioritize and do what's best for you. That's all I wanted to say. So one other thing I want to mention is that at the time of filming this right now, I am not certain when these brands are having a sale, how much % off. I don't know anything. So if I find something out, I'll either put it in the description box below or on the screen somewhere. I'll find a way. If I find something out, by the time I post this video, I might even come back to the video and like pin a comment and put all the information that I'll find out, because again, I've tried to do things in advance. This video is most likely going up a week before the actual Black Friday. So I don't know if these brands are doing it earlier or later. I have no idea. Without any further ado, let's get started. So exciting. I've been working on this video for 2 months, so I really hope y'all enjoy it. Alrighty, switching the view. First brand I'm going to start with is Touch of Glam, and as y'all know, I have quite a few singles from Touch of Glam. They're one of my favorite brands, so I'm so excited to show y'all my recommendations. I will say it was very hard to narrow down what I was going to give as recommendations, okay? Like, I wish I could recommend all of them, so know that this was very difficult for me. Starting with the iridescence, this is Walk Me Through Fire, and as you can see, even without me swatching it, this is a very spicy, hot orange iridescent. I absolutely love this one. I would say out of all the orange iridescents that I have, I don't have many. I think I might have like 3. I don't think even 4, but I'm gonna say 3 just to be safe. And this has to be the spiciest one out of all of them, like the fieriest one. And you will see in the swatch later when I put swatches that this is like very intense. I have used it on the eyes and I've used it as a highlighter as well. Doi. It does have a little bit of a green cast, which I do not mind at all, but it's just like as a highlighter, obviously if you put a lot, it will show that cast. It's not meant to be a highlighter, but I love using eyeshadows as highlighters. But yeah, this is a very intense one. And as I always say, you can layer iridescence on top of any kind of color you want. They just create such a cool effect. Absolutely love this one. I think that you cannot go wrong, honestly, with any Touch of Glam iridescence. I gotta say that they're very underrated, but this one is one that I would recommend. Again, it was very hard for me to narrow down which one. I was debating between 2, but this one took the cake. The light shimmer, my pick is Newly Minted. Now, this originally comes in a square pan because it's part of the Color Me Multi collection. And that collection, all of them are square pans, but I repan mine because I want all of my singles to be uniform. So that's why mine is in a circle. But know that if you purchase any of them, they will come in a square pan. This is a gorgeous, like grassy light green with quite a few like colorful, especially pink sparkles in it. I know that they don't show here, as you can see, like on the pan, you don't really see them, but when you put it on the eye, it just has such a beautiful dimensional effect. I gotta say this about the Color Me Multi collection. I know it's not a lot of people's favorites because they tend to be a little bit creamy and sometimes crease on people, and they're a little bit flakier than usual. So sometimes people have a harder time, like, you know, smoothing them on the eyelid. However, I will say this much, that repanning them has helped me quite a little bit. I don't have issues with, you know, them being too flaky. I mean, I didn't have issues when they were in the square pans, but the way how I repan these is I take the pigment, like the shadow itself, out of the square pan, place it somewhere. Obviously it's not on a table, it's like on a piece of paper or plastic, something that is shiny and it's easy for me to scoop it up. And then I kind of mince the shadow a little bit because I don't want it to be chunky, and maybe that has helped. I don't have any issue with creasing on these. I have worn actually this specific one in the New York heat. If you guys have visited New York City in the summer, y'all know it's not only hot and grimy out there, it's just like intense, okay? And this lasted the whole day, no creasing, no nothing. So I love this formula personally, but I just wanted y'all to be mindful of that if you have issues with like flakier shadows like creasing on you. Look who's making a comeback for the dark shimmer. It's
Britney, bitch.
I feel like I gotta use that clip every time I mention the name of this shadow. I don't know, I feel like it's so funny, and I'm not even an Office fan. I've never watched it, but I feel like I kind of want to turn it into tradition. But anyways, as I said in another video, actually the Cassie makeup tag video, I absolutely love the shadow. Clearly Doi, I am recommending it, but it's very unique. It's like a reddish, deeper cranberry. I almost want to consider it like a deeper red, but it has a lot of multi-colorful sparkles. We've mentioned this before, but Touch of Glam is really good at making multi-chromatic shadows like that. You know, obviously you get the shifts, but you get the extra dimensional effect because of those multi-colorful sparkles. And even in this particular lighting and camera, which my camera is not fancy whatsoever, it's like a tiny galaxy in this pan, you know, like look at that, you guys. Like you see orange, you see a little bit of purple, maybe a little bit of yellow too, like sparkles. It's just like insane. Like I cannot wait to show y'all the swatch, and I have used this on the eyes and I absolutely love it. I think it's such a unique shadow, and yeah, I definitely would recommend it. Although I gotta say again,
Touch of Glam has quite a few deeper shimmers, which I absolutely love, and especially their birthday formula shades I love because they tend to be a little bit deeper. So trust me, this was also another battle between me, myself, and I, which one to pick. But yeah, I had to go with is Britney. For the neutral recommendation, I picked a very spicy neutral. This is the 35th. That's the actual name of the shadow. It's from the unnamed collection, which they all have like, you know, numbers as names. And this one is very shifty. Again, I cannot wait to show you the swatch, but I have created a look with it, and it's like a, I want to say it's like that pink to green, you know, like shifting multi-chrome, you know, the ones like they're very, very typical, but it's a mauvier, deeper, like pink rather than just like, oh, pink to green, you know. And even the green has some sort of depth to it. Like it's a deeper, I gotta say, it's a deeper shimmer. It's not like your typical like light neutral. So that's why I'm calling it spicy, because there's a lot more to it than just like, oh, it's a mauve, or oh, it's a little bit green, you know. So of course, even for a neutral, I had to go with a bolder, darker, spicier neutral because I love those. And yeah, I will link even the look. I probably, for everyone that I've mentioned, I will link some looks down below. But yeah, I quite love this shadow. I think it's very underrated. I feel like the whole collection is underrated. So I had to mention something from that collection. For the must-have, I must go with the Holo. I mean, Touch of Glam is very known for their holos. Their holos are so freaking well done. Like these are, look at that. I mean, I don't need to say much. Look at that, you guys. Look at that. And I was afraid that this one wasn't going to show it very well because it's like very blue, but look, you can see the holo. Oh, she is not hiding. I completely forgot to mention the name of the shade, of course. Typical hairstyle behavior over here. I'm sorry, I was distracted by the beauty of it. But this is Soul Holo, and this is a beautiful blue, almost like a denim blue with a little bit of purple to it holo. And the holos from Touch of Glam are just like a normal shadow. You will not feel any grittiness. Like you won't feel like particles of holo. It will not feel like a glitter. It just, even when you touch it, even when you apply it to the eye, it's a shadow. It just has holo in it, basically. So I gotta recommend it. I feel like this one is more of a hidden gem in their lineup of holos, because I know quite a few other ones are more popular, such as like Ghost Holo or Marmalade or Sly or Bubblegum Holo. So that's why this last category I was like, okay, must have / hidden gem, because I feel like this is beautiful and I don't hear enough people talking about it. So yeah, I had to recommend it. But let me say it again. I don't think you can go wrong with any of their holos. She has an excellent selection. Alrighty, so here are all 5 eyeshadows. And let me show y'all the swatches. Look at these, you guys. Oh my god, look at that orange. But yeah, so basically this is Walk Me Through Fire, newly minted. It's Britney Bitch, 35th. And Soul Holo. Keep in mind, undertone, skin tone, lighting plays a big part as how shadows look. Big believer that how something looks in a swatch could look completely different on the eye, because this area of the arm is much smoother than the eye is. You know, eyes have crevices, wrinkles, you know, creases, all that sort of thing. So yeah, I absolutely love these. I'm kind of obsessed with how the orange shift of Walk Me Through Fire is picking up on camera. It's so freaking intense. So keep in mind that if you wear them with certain colors, they might completely look different. I always want to make sure to tell people that, because that was something that I struggled with a lot when it came to, you know, learning how to pair multi-chromes with things. I would be like, oh my god, why doesn't it look like on swatch that the brand provided? You know, again, all those elements that I mentioned play a big part in how a shadow looks, because I can tell you this much. Newly minted is almost looking like a spicy neutral green on my hand, but it did not look like this on my eyes. I paired it with greens and it was much greener. It was, like I said, a grassy green. So keep that in mind as well. These are also swatched on just my bare arm. No glitter glue. Alrighty, next brand is Shine by SD. And listen, I know that you're gonna say, oh, Hairsa, stop with the excuses already. It was difficult, blah, blah, blah. No, this one was truly difficult because half of my recommendations are pretty much like being either discontinued or reformulated, so I'm not sure on what's coming back and what's not. So I am really just narrowing down my choices literally to looking at the website and seeing if they're on like the sale or last chance tab. Like, I had so many recs like Purple Rain and Luring and Flamethrower that are all either, like I said, again, being discontinued or reformulated, or so yeah, that's why I don't want to recommend anything that I don't know whether it's coming back or not. So trust, this was really difficult for reasons that are out of my control. Starting with the iridescent, this is Unstoppable, and just like the name, it's an unstoppable, beautiful, extremely sparkly iridescent. You cannot see it now, but this has very beautiful like pink and peachy sparkles on top that make it such a pretty, delicate but impactful iridescent. I've worn it as a highlighter as well. Doy, there's no escape for shadows that are compatible with my skin tone to be highlighters. Like, there's no escape. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I love me a multitasking product. I will say I have the older version, so the reformulated version I do not have. I'm assuming it's probably a little bit more tightly packed. This one like just fluffs away, so I had to repress it several times just because it's so loose in the pan almost, but it's beautiful. I do not have a problem with doing that because I absolutely love it. Again, I don't know how the reformulation is. This is just purely speculation on my end. I'm hoping that that part of it is fixed. Well, definitely a recommendation. I think even as a one and done. For the light shimmer, I am of course gonna recommend Reserve Explosion, you guys. And you might say, but Hairsa, didn't you just recommend us an iridescent? Well, this is not an iridescent. This is a pearly, sparkly white shadow, okay? There's a difference. I absolutely love this one. If y'all don't know the backstory, this is actually a birthday gift meant for me. Jen went to Shaniqua, owner of Shine by SD, and asked her to combine some of her favorite Reserve shadows from the Reserve collection. And, you know, Shaniqua made it happen. Very grateful for both of them. And yeah, I was able to receive this, you know, obviously as a birthday gift from my friend, and it's a very special shadow to me. It means a lot to me, and quite a few guys know the story and have ordered it because of it, and I absolutely love it. I feel like it's such a glamorous shadow. Again, Jen created the pearly white shadow of my dreams. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's a very special gift. Love it. And I love the shadow itself, like genuinely, like removing obviously my bias from it, because of course I love it, but I genuinely love it as a shadow. Like when I saw it, when she gave it to me, I'm like, oh my God, Jen, how did you know that I was in need of a pearly white shimmer? She was like, I just created. And I was like, I love it so freaking much. And yes, I've worn it as a highlighter. Again, no escape. Y'all know me by now. I don't even think I have to say it that I've used it as a highlighter as well. This shadow I feel like is perfect for like those of y'all who maybe don't want to do too much on a certain day. You know, you want to wear a red lip or like a darker lip or even a nude lip, whatever. Maybe in general you don't like dark shimmers. You just want to do a nude on the crease and call it a day. Yeah, this is a perfect shimmer to just elevate that look. So I think it's just, you know, very versatile for a lot of people, just in case you like colors or you don't like colors. That's why I created these categories, because not everybody is into colorful shimmers or dark shimmers. Maybe you're just getting into indie makeup. Maybe you're just dipping your toes into color and you want to get started with something that is more approachable and comfortable for you. And I think this shadow is it. Like, you get the impact, you get the sparkles, but the color is up to you. You know, obviously you can pair this with anything you want, but it's a beautiful shadow to wear with a very minimalistic eye, I feel like. And it's one of my favorite looks that I did actually this year. Again, I'll link everything down below, whatever I'm talking about, whatever looks I'm talking about. And I wore it with a red lip and I felt so glam in it, even though I love my bold looks, but there's something about the shadow that just, again, I know I'm biased, but I think it's very beautiful and glamorous. Y'all thought I wasn't gonna recommend any blues? You are gravely mistaken if you thought that a blue isn't going to come up in this video, okay? This is my dark shimmer recommendation for Shine by SD. This is Scored. This is from their Jeweled Dreams collection, and what can I say? I talked about this shadow in the Cassie makeup tag video, but I will say it again. What you see on the pan is what you get in the eyes. The shift is beautiful. It's a gorgeous, impactful, deeper blue, but it's very vibrant at the same time. This does not have a black base to it. It's darker, it's deeper for sure, but it doesn't have a black base. It's just a very vibrant but deep blue. And even if you are afraid of putting this all over your lid, I promise it's a beautiful liner. start with a liner. If you're afraid of colors and just want to, again, dip your toes into it, this is a liner. It's perfect. I love good quality indie shimmers because you can do detailed work with them, and this will stand for every brand that I'm talking today. From what I've tried, I'm very happy with everything. So yeah, this one is perfect. Very pigmented. The Shine by SD formula that everybody loves. It's not very creamy. It's pretty dry, very beginner friendly. So yeah, I love this one. I know I'm a broken record, but I love what I love. For my neutral recommendation, yes, I already spoke about this shadow. I'm so sorry if I'm sounding like a broken record. This is Crown Flash. This is from the Earthborn collection, Seeking Shifts X Shine by SD. Beautiful collection, full of spicy neutrals, but I gotta say, I love Crown Flash. And I know I grew to like it because in the beginning when it came out, and I did say this again in the makeup tag video, check that video out, I'll link it down below. But I kind of overlooked this one because I was more into the iridescence. And you know, neutrals, I'm not a neutrals girly, but when I got it, I fell in love with it. So I've worn it quite a few times, even as a one and done, one of my favorites. But this is a very pretty, delicate, peachy, like lighter nude, and it has gorgeous, like almost like I want to say red sparkles on top of it. Honestly, I cannot wait to show you the swatch. But yeah, it's perfect. It's gorgeous, and I feel like you can pair it with anything. Again, if you're a neutrals person, you will love this shadow. Even if you want a quick look with it, it's again perfect. It's perfect, and it's a lighter nude. Again, I want to keep my choices and recommendations throughout the brands to in general diverse. So yeah, this is a perfect one. Earthborn collection in general is full of spicy neutrals, beautiful shadows, but this one has to be one of my favorites. Oh, I am so sorry. This is another shadow that I spoke about in that video I keep mentioning, but this is so sweet. I love this shadow. This is a pink with a very strong, almost UV like blue glow. You can see it right there. I mean, it's very intense. This is, y'all know Myrrh became very popular. This is a Cleona shadow. It's like a, you know, limey green with a very strong like purple UV glow. This is like Myrrh, but the pink and blue version. Like this, that's exactly what it is. I love this shadow. It's layerable because you can sheer it out so much that you can layer it on top of anything, and it will just again elevate the look and give it like that cool glow that you see it in an angle, then it disappears in another angle. It's just so perfect. Again, it's a must-have. I don't see a lot of people talk about this one from Shine by SD, but I gotta shout it out because I feel like it's a must-have and a hidden gem in their collection. Absolutely love it. Yeah, this is beautiful. I can't stop staring at it. Alrighty, here are all 5 shadows from Shine by SD. Here are the swatches. Look at how intense that blue glow is. Oh my god. But this is Unstoppable, Reserve Explosion, Scored, Crown Flash, and So Sweet. Again, like I said before, keep in mind skin tone, undertone, lighting, camera, the way you layer them, where you put them. Obviously the eye is not a smooth area like this part of the arm, so keep that in mind. So colors that you pair them with completely could alter the look of some shadows, so keep that in mind. But yeah, these are the swatches, you guys. I absolutely love them. Oh my god, all 3 of these, like these right here and this, I've worn as highlighters as well. Love doing that. Next brand I'm going to be talking about is Quicksand, and y'all know that's another one of my favorite brands. I love Quicksand's formula. They're very similar to Shine by SD. They're pretty dry, but again, that doesn't mean that dry lacks in sparkle, shimmer, quality, and whatnot. So I'm very excited to talk about my favorites. Was it hard to pick? Yeah, it was very hard to pick, especially for iridescents, because I feel like Quicksand iridescents are like in my top 3. Honestly, I love everything they come up with, but let me get started before I just keep rambling on and on. Starting with a classic for the iridescent. This is Queen's Tears, the OG. There's 2 versions. There's this version and the orange version. You cannot go wrong with either. If you ask me, you cannot go wrong with either, but I had to go with the classic as the recommendation for my iridescent because I love the OG Queen's Tears. Listen, this is a beautiful, and you're going to see the swatch later on, but this is a beautiful hot pink iridescent, one of the best. It's so shifty, and it shifts between not your usual hot pink to green. It's more of a limey green. It's so limey, it almost leans a little yellow. Not necessarily fully yellow, but like it's so intense. That shimmer is so, and that sparkle and that shift is so intense to the point that I've only worn this on my lid sometimes, like with just like a wash of something very neutral on the crease, and maybe something else as a liner. I believe it was something burgundy berry-ish, and my god, this is, no matter what you put this next to, this is gonna steal the show every time. One day, you know what, you just like, you know what, I'm just gonna throw something on my lid and go. This is a perfect iridescent to do it. It doesn't leave like white cast or anything weird. You can wear it however you want. I've worn it as a highlighter to Doy. Y'all know I love doing that. I feel like I don't even have to repeat myself. Perfect shadow. This is just fantastic. One of my favorite shadows of all time, honestly. If we're gonna be that dramatic, I am gonna be that dramatic and say that this is one of my favorite shadows of all time. So needless to say, this is my first recommendation. For the light shimmer, I have to go with another one that I believe she launched in the very first year, maybe second. This is Escape Velocity. As you can see, I haven't even swatched it yet, and look at how shifty this damn shadow is. This is a beautiful light orange, but honestly, it is so shifty. I have worn it layered on top of another orange, a matte orange at that, and oh my god, it was so perfect. It's a perfect orange eyeshadow. I know orange is not everybody's favorite color, but if you want to start with an orange you can wear with other colors and maybe experiment in how it looks on top of other things, definitely go with Escape Velocity. You cannot go wrong with this one. I absolutely love this eyeshadow, and for those of y'all that love pumpkins and are seasonal wearers of colors, I personally am not, so I wear things whenever I feel like it, but if you are a seasonal color wearer, this in the fall is perfect because it resembles a pumpkin so much on top of another orange. I'm telling y'all, this is perfect. And again, the sparkle and shine and shift are very up to par with Quicksand's usual quality. For the dark shimmer, I'm going big. All right, I am not holding back. This is Nightshade. And as you can see, it's a beautiful black shimmer filled with silver sparkles. It's so, those silver sparkles are so intense. You can barely see the black base. I cannot wait for y'all to see the swatch of this one because this is so intense. It has to be probably my favorite shimmery black in my whole entire collection. I did a look with this earlier this year. One of my favorite looks. It's very intense. This is an intense shadow, so I know it will scare a lot of y'all away. I know a lot of people are not fans of dark shimmers, but like I said, I need to be an advocate for them. I need to get people to love them because they're so underloved and they deserve way more love and attention, I feel like. And if you want a dark shimmery black that you can use as a liner all over the lid, or you just want to like dip your toes into darker shimmers and maybe a black is where you want to start, go with this one. If she has it in stock, go with this one. I absolutely love it. It has to be one of my favorite Quicksand shadows of all time. I think she killed it with this one. I have other dark shimmers, especially like black shimmers, but this one takes the cake. This one is very, very, very intense. For the neutral with Quicksand, I'm going with Sorcerer. This is a very recent shadow. Hopefully it will be in stock for Black Friday. I love this one. This is a perfect mid-toned green, like an earthier green filled with orange shimmers, which I feel like is such, I know that they're not complementary colors. I know that orange and green are not complementary, but it creates such a beautiful contrast that I feel like, again, it's a spicy neutral. This is a neutral turned up to 100 because I know for a fact wearing this on the eyes, again, you don't have to do too much. You can just do a neutral. If you're a neutrals girly and you're watching this video just to get the neutral recommendations, this one is one of the best ones to get because of those multi-colorful sparkles. It does the work for you, okay? You don't need to layer anything on top of it, but you still want something that looks special. You are into indie makeup. You can't deal with the shifts and having to think and overcomplicate like your makeup routine. Not saying that multi-chromes are complicated, but I can understand that it's hard sometimes to determine what to wear with them. Not with a spicy neutral like this. You could just do something on the crease, something darker on the outer corner, slap this on and call it a day. All right, I love this shadow. I cannot wait for y'all to see the swatch because it's so freaking sparkly. Hopefully it will be back in stock. I'm really, really rooting for it. I know she came out with 3 spicy neutrals, so if you are into the other 2, highly recommend them as well. They're also spicy neutrals that are filled with multi-colorful sparkles or sparkles that are a little bit contrasting to the base of the shadow. So if you don't feel like a green, you can go with the other two. I know that I have to pick only one for the recommendation, so that's why I picked this one, but just letting y'all know, you can go with anything you feel like. Again, great quality. For my hidden gem, I have to pick Catalyst. I freaking love Catalyst. I got this, I believe, last fall, so 2023, and I fell in love with it the moment I got it in the mail. As you can see, you see a very intense, soft, cooler pink sparkle, but then you see that green cast. It's a pink to green iridescent, but different from Queen's Tears, the OG. This is a cooler toned pink, and this is super, like super sparkly. This shadow is intensely sparkly. I mean, you can see all the other ones sparkle and shine under the light, but this one, those sparkles just dance and just like show through so much more intensely than the other shadows. I love this one. I don't think I've heard as many people talk about it, and I was debating between this and another iridescent. Like I said, Quicksand's iridescents are my favorites, so I was like, should I do that? But no, I had to go with Catalyst. I've worn it so many times, even though one thing that I probably forgot to mention on Quicksand's shadows, she does very deep pans. Like, these pans are deep compared to other indie makeup brands. So you know that even if you get something and maybe it will never come back in stock, it will last you a long time because of how deep the pan is. Yeah, the pans are really deep. Very rarely does she do like normal pans that are like, you know, the usual shallower pans. No, her pans are very, very deep. So y'all know that if something has a dip in it, I've been loving it for a while. I freaking love this eyeshadow. Yes, I've worn it as a highlighter as well. I mean, I shouldn't even keep saying that because I'm sure you guys assume the moment you see an iridescent on the screen, it's been worn as a highlighter by me. But yeah, Catalyst, go for it. If it's in stock, go for it. I'll let you know though, for Quicksand, I am not sure what shadows are going to be in stock for Black Friday, if there's going to be any new ones or not. I'm not sure even that the shadows that I showed y'all are going to be back for Black Friday. I know that there's some shadows that she continuously brings back in stock, like both Queen's Tears, like 2.0 and the OG, both come in stock regularly. Escape Velocity too, I feel like. I'm not sure about the other ones, I'm not going to lie. Like, I know that with Quicksand, we don't have like really a catalog that we know it's like permanent and for me to tell y'all. So I just picked stuff from my collection. But again, apologies, and I'm so sorry if something that I mentioned is not going to be in stock. Again, I am not sure of the brand's like permanent catalog. Alrighty, and these are my recommendations from Quicksand on the pan. It's worth saying before I show you my swatches that both Escape Velocity and Nightshade feel grittier when you touch them, when I swatch them. And here are the swatches. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. Listen. Okay, let me start listening before I start raving about them. This is Queen's Tears, the OG. This is Escape Velocity, Nightshade, Sorcerer, and Catalyst. Right there, you can see the difference between Queen's Tears and Catalyst. They're both pinky, but this is way pinker and more cool tone. Tears, the OG, is a lot more like pinky, but a little orange too. And next to Escape Velocity, they almost look similar. Because again, keep in mind that you guys are seeing different on the screen, and what I'm seeing is completely different. I'm seeing the shifts completely differently. I like to say for every swatch, keep in mind that skin tone, lighting, angle, part of where you swatch it is not going to look like this on the eye. It's going to look different. The eye is not as smooth of an area as my forearm is, so keep that in mind. But yeah, this is gorgeous. I gotta say, I'm in love with Nightshade. And these two are grittier than the other ones. Like, the particles are much bigger than when I touch them. I feel some kind of grittiness, but the other ones tend to be very smooth. So just something to be mindful of, these two, Escape Velocity and Nightshade. But I gotta say, I love these. Look at this one, you guys, the neutral. That is so pretty. I know a lot of y'all would love this kind of shimmer. Look at Catalyst, so intense. I can't stop staring at all of them. I love all of them. But yeah, these are my Quicksand recommendations. Next brand is gonna be Devinah. Y'all know that's one of my favorite brands. I have quite a few shadows from them, so I'm very excited to talk about them with y'all. I'm sure some of them you're gonna immediately guess what I'm talking about, especially the first one. I know you guys are sick of me mentioning the same ones over and over again, but again, these are my recommendations, all right? This one was hard. Not as hard as other brands, though, because between the 5 prompts that I picked, I feel like for Devinah, the answers immediately popped in my head. As for other brands, I had to like think, should I do this? Should I do that? I mean, I had some difficulty picking, but I feel like I was quicker than other brands. So let's get started. Let me not just go on and on and on. First one, I'm sure you've seen and have heard me talk about this. Oh my God. I know you guys are so sick and tired of me talking about Boom Sour. Yeah, this is Boom Sour. Listen, it's my favorite, one of my favorite iridescents of all time, okay? What can I do? What can I say? This is a beautiful aqua, tealish, bluish kind of iridescent. Very special, very unique in my opinion. Worn it on the eyes as a highlighter. Everything you can think of, I've worn this eyeshadow as. Absolutely love it. If I could pick an iridescent to recommend from Devinah, I think this is the most special one that they have and the most unique. But again, their iridescents are amazing. I could recommend so many more. And I'll mention some names just because I feel bad that I keep talking about Boom Sour only. I love Soda Swamp. I love Yum Licks. They're both pinky, like very soft pinky iridescent. I love Nokomis. I mean, that's a classic as well. A lot of them are great. Shuggies is amazing too, but Boom Sour is my favorite, and Boom Sour has to be my recommendation because I find it so unique across many other brands. I've never found an iridescent that is so teal-ish, aqua-ish, bluish kind of, you know, shift compared to other brands. I don't think I've seen brands do blue iridescents, but nothing quite like this. So Boom Sour, that's it, done deal. For my light shimmer, this is Swudge. I talked about Swudge back in my top 10 singles for 2023, the collab I did with Jen, but Swudge is a perfect sky blue. And I know that it's a very old shadow of theirs, like compared to some like newer and cooler ones. You know, Swudge doesn't really look like it's packing a punch, but it does. When you put it on the eyes, it almost, when you see it on the pen, it looks like a pinkish, like a blue with a pink kind of sparkle and not shift, but kind of shift. I guess it's more of a duochrome for sure. But putting it on the eyes, it's so sparkly and so glowy. Definitely don't underestimate the shadow. And honestly, I could have answered, and I thought to put this under hidden gem, but I put something else there because I feel like there's more underrated shadows than Swatch in their catalog. But please, if you're getting maybe only 10 shadows from Devinah or even 3, if you are a blue lover, especially a light blue lover, Swatch is such a unique shadow. Again, it doesn't look like nothing special. You're gonna be like, it's just a sky blue. What are you talking about? Trust, it's amazing. I've worn it on my eyes several times with several different color stories and combos, and it's such showstopper every time. For the dark shimmer, I picked Zombie. When they first came out with this collection, this is the Level collection, which I've talked about other shadows in the collection, but this time I'm recommending Zombie. I think that this was a different shadow. Zombie looked different, but I think because the pigment got discontinued, this is what Zombie looks like. So I don't know if it's Zombie Reborn or Zombie, but I'm calling it Zombie because that's what it's labeled on the back of my pan. Lovely color. I gotta say, this is a very sexy, dark, teal. I mean, can I call it a teal? I guess I could, right? Because it's bluish, but it's greenish at the same time. I do love a blue or a green that contain each other. You know what I mean? I love a blue that has a little bit of green in it, and I love a green that has a little bit of blue in it. This is kind of like that shadow. I cannot label it one or the other because it's kind of both at the same time. Again, I'm talking about a bunch of nonsense, but trust me, this is a beautiful shadow. If you want to dip your toes into something and you're a lover of teals, or you want to do a sexy, like grown version of a mermaid look, get Zombie. Honestly, get the whole collection if you're going to ask me, because in the beginning, when I first bought from Devinah, I only got 1 or 2 shadows from the collection, but then I ended up getting the whole collection. So if you're getting into dark shimmers, get all of them, honestly, but Zombie is a little extra special. Although they all are. I cannot pick a favorite. For the neutral, ooh, this was a category that I debated between quite a few shadows from Devinah, but I had to land with Tucana. Tucana is very special. Tucana is a soft, literally soft, I'm going to use a New York accent here now, soft pink with a greenish gold kind of shift. And it doesn't look much quite like what I'm talking about in the pan because you see more of a gold, but there is quite a little bit of green to it. I've worn it with greens before. I've worn it with like olive greens, and it's quite stunning. but it's a neutral. This, I wouldn't consider this to be like, you know, a pink shadow. This is a very interesting and unique spicy neutral. I know this is, I feel like this is one of their more popular shades because it's really pretty. It's, again, if you want to do a one and done or a shadow, again, you're a neutrals girly and you want something that leans a little pink, this is it. Honestly, this kind of like gives me very much, not that Charlotte Tilbury is anywhere comparable to Indie Shadows, but it gives me Charlotte Tilbury vibes because of the soft pink. Like if you want something sophisticated, but nothing colorful, Tucana is perfect. I love Tucana. I think she's very pretty. And last but certainly not least, the hidden gem underrated shadow, I have to go with Draco. Draco is also, I believe, one of their older shadows, but it's a beautiful JD green. Almost like, honestly, this is not like a normal mid-toned vivid green. There's something bluish about it. See, like you can, even when I flip it like this, you can see there's a little blue. I feel like nobody mentions Swatch, but literally nobody mentions Draco. It's such a lovely, unique green, so pigmented, sparkly, everything you want. Everything you want. And I know there's quite a few green lovers that watch my videos, so I know y'all will love this one. Again, if you're getting a few, and if you are a lover of colors that are, you know, mid-toned, and if you want something to spice up your green looks, or even a look but you just want to add green to it, this is it. Draco is it. I love Draco. I cannot wait for y'all to see this swatch because it's so lovely. And these are the Devinah recommendations that I have. Absolutely lovely because the blues and the greens are taking over. All right, I love all of these shadows. I could have recommended more, but I gotta stick with my recommendations. And look at these beautiful, glorious swatches. This is Boom Sour, Swudge, Zombie, Tucana, and Draco. And although you guys are seeing a more like softer side of Boom Sour looks very different on my eyes. And I've said this before, I don't want to become a broken record, but eye versus forearm are completely two different surface areas. And keep in mind, on the eye, you might be wearing it with other colors and it's going to look completely different. So keep in mind lighting, skin tone, angle, what colors you're wearing it with. Like Swudge, for example, on my eyes when I've worn it, looks completely different from this like very soft blue. It's a blue, it's a very glowy blue. Zombie Reborn 2, what I'm looking at is completely different from what you guys are looking at. Tucana, look at how soft Tucana is. By the way, you guys are looking at the pink shift of Tucana, right? I see only gold. I see a mid-toned, like almost rosy gold. I don't even see the pink that you guys are seeing. And Draco, I'm seeing a more like blue. There's some blue in Draco that you guys are not picking up because, again, that's what the lighting and my skin tone are doing to it. But these are the Devinah recommendations I have. Again, very lovely. And I gotta say, Devinah shadows, at least these particular ones that I'm talking about here, are very smooth. Like very, very smooth. No flaky, no greediness, no nothing. Not that that's a bad thing, but I know certain people are into different things. So just wanted to make sure to mention that. But yeah, these are my Devinah recs. The next brands I'm going to be mentioning, I'm only going to recommend 3 shadows per brand just because I don't have enough shadows to fulfill all 5 prompts. So I'm just going to mention 3 shadows that I think people should have. Alrighty, time to talk about my recommendations from Beaute Bar. The first one being Digital Zombie Holo. Look at that intense blue shift. Oh my god, I love this freaking shadow. I love me a UV blue glow. All right, I do. I can't resist it. This is a lovely shadow. It's a holo as well. Digital Zombie is actually a shadow that is in the recently de-influenced palette from Beaute, and the holo version of it is a single. Absolutely love it. Absolutely recommend it. I will mention now that the Beaute Bar single formula is quite creamy. Their shimmers in general tend to be very creamy. So if you have creasing issues, just keep that in mind. I don't. They don't crease on me. I want to mention it and be mindful of people that do. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. But yeah, I absolutely love this holo. It's a lovely shadow, a lovely tone. Absolutely love how lilac-y it is, and then boom, that blue, it just comes out of nowhere. And of course, I love me a holo. What can I say? Next up is
Strength, one of my favorite reds in my collection. This is such a jewel toned red. Definitely not the most vivid red out there, but it's quite deep and shifty and sparkly, even though it's described as a metallic red. This was in my top 10 singles from last year. Gotta say, I love this one. As we speak, it's out of stock on the website. I don't know if it's coming back. So again, I'm recommending it, but keep that in mind that it might not come back in stock in time for Black Friday or ever. It's still up on the website. So I am recommending it with the assumption that it might come back in stock at some point, but just wanted to let you know that I love this shadow. Again, it's very shifty and very impactful, a very nice deep red. For those of y'all that want to get into reds but don't want something very punchy and very vivid, this is a perfect one. This tends to be a bit more muted, not less red, just a bit more muted. And last but certainly not least is Sunshine Daydream. My God, I love this shadow. I wore this for my marriage anniversary in Vegas, and I can't shut the F up about this shadow. I'm not kidding you guys when I say that I looked like I was wearing a freaking mirror on my lids. Like this is beyond sparkly. This is like can be seen from outer space kind of shadow. This is a very delicate, peachier, pinky kind of light shade. So I would definitely consider this kind of like a neutral, definitely neutral adjacent, because you can pair it with anything, honestly. And I can see you wearing this with, again, neutral browns, whether that be warm or cool, but it's a love. I wore it with reds. And it was just so freaking stunning. And depending on what tones you pair it with, obviously some peachiness of it might come out more than the pinky part of it, or some pinkiness might come more out than the peachiness. Again, it can be versatile, even though it's not necessarily a multi-chrome. Love this one. This is a very intense, this is shiny and sparkly. Like this is very, very intense, and it is a bit flakier than the other two shadows that I mentioned. And these are the three shadows that I'm recommending from Bella Beaute Bar. And here are my swatches. As you can see, the Holo in Zombie, Digital Zombie, is different from the Holos from Touch of Glam, because it's a bit more like a sitting on top of the shadow kind of Holo. I still very much enjoy it though, but just wanted to bring that to your attention, you know, to see the difference between the two Holos. Then we have Strength. Very lovely. Gotta say, Strength is so sexy. I love how muted but still very red. It's fiery but still in a more like sexy way. I don't know. It's very sultry, I gotta say. And here's Sunshine Daydream. What you're seeing here is more like I don't know, you guys are probably like, how my camera is picking it up is different from what I'm seeing, because I'm seeing more of a pink, but you guys are seeing more of like a almost white, honestly. But it's not. Again, as I've said before, it's gonna look different. Skin tone, angle, lighting, device that I'm filming with, the fact that this is not the eye, this is just my forearm. I'm not pairing it with any color, so it might look completely different. On my eyes, it looked completely different. It looked a bit darker than what it's looking like on camera. So please keep that in mind. But yeah, I absolutely love Bella Beaute Bar's formula. Next up is MBA Cosmetics. I gotta say, I really enjoy MBA Cosmetics formula, and I have to say that they're very underrated. I have found some multi-chromes from their line, and even duochromes, but specifically multi-chromes, that are way better than some popular brands out there. Absolutely love them. They're very, again, sparkly, shifty, very unique, very lovely. I feel like they excel at pastels, like lighter colors. So they have like the perfect like florally candy like shadow. So just for all of y'all who like colors but prefer lighter colors, look into MBA, and they also have amazing sales. I can't wait, because I have quite a few things in my wish list. First shadow I'm recommending from them is Phantom Rainbow. Look at that. Listen, no. This is this is an intense shadow. This is a beautiful light green with intense orange shift and sparkles in it. Very lovely minty green, I gotta say. And what you see in the pan is what you get on your eye. I don't know if you guys remember when I was doing Cassie's tag, I mentioned two shadows from Terra Moons, whom by the way I don't support anymore, but two shadows from Terra Moons that I am was very disappointed in. Ganymede and Stellar Apotheosis. And I don't know if you guys remember, I said
that I found a way better version of Ganymede, that it doesn't have that weird gray cast and it doesn't pull and blend weirdly into other shadows because it doesn't show up as a green on my eyes. This is the one that I found, and when I tried, I was like, oh my God, what the heck was Ganymede all about? Because I don't see how that shadow cannot perform, but this one just, I don't know, it just like blows it out of the water. You will see on my swatch, there's no gray cast, there's no weirdness. It's gonna show up green because that's what it is. It's a green with intense orange sparkle and shimmer. And that's what I wanted Ganymede to do for me. Phantom Rainbow is that girl, all right? And the other shadow that is the equivalent of Stellar Apotheosis from Terra Moons, again, since I mentioned those two shadows, is Infinite Rainbow. Love this one. It's such a shifty blue. I mean, you see it. Those sparkles, you guys. I mean, look at that. I cannot wait for y'all to see a swatch. Again, it's a way better version of Stellar Apotheosis. And I keep mentioning that because this brand, I hadn't heard of this brand when I started getting into indie makeup. I actually kind of heard them for the first time, like, beginning of 2023, really. So like I didn't really have an idea who they were, and I was like kind of hesitant to get any other shadows, but I was like, okay, I'll try one. And when I tried Phantom Rainbow, I was like, ooh, this is so good. Why aren't people talking more about this brand? But yeah, this is Infinite Rainbow as well. Like I said, they excel at these like pastel-y, shifty kind of colors. And last but certainly not least, this is going to be very unusual for me because this shadow is not really sparkly, but it's very pretty. This is called What Incarnation? That's kind of funny. This is, when I say a pastel pink, I mean a pastel pink shimmer. This is very light. This has a pretty strong white base, I would say, and it's not as sparkly and as shifty as other shadows. You can see that there is like a slight green shimmer running throughout it, but it's not anything crazy. Again, it's very light, like very pasty, but I find it very unique because it's kind of hard to find very pastel shimmers in the indie brand. So I appreciate this one. It's a very good one and done for every day for me personally too. I think that even as if you want a very light color on your lids, you might like this. So I wanted to recommend it because of how unique it is. Again, it's not necessarily the sparkliest, and you will see on my swatch, but it's very pretty and delicate. These are the three shadows that I'm recommending from MBA. Very Powerpuff color story, a green, a pink, and a blue. But here are the swatches as well. These are Phantom Rainbow, Infinite Rainbow, and What Incarnation in the middle. Oh my God, look at how pale What Incarnation is. Look at how pink it is and how pale it is. As y'all see, look at that. You can tell that this is a green and this is a blue. And again, because of the lighting, that orange sparkle is like coming through real strong. On the eyes, these look beautiful. Absolutely love them. I gotta recommend these. Again, MBA Cosmetics, I feel like does sales throughout the year as well. So keep out an eye for those two. By the way, I highly recommend the Sugar collection too. The Sugar collection is also amazing. I have quite a few shadows from that collection. Absolutely love it. So shifty and sparkly. I love their sparkle. Alrighty, next up is Sydney Grace Cosmetics, and spoiler alert, all the 5 shadows that you will see are going to be mattes because I don't have any shimmers from Sydney Grace Cosmetics, just because their shimmers are not the kind of shimmers that I look for. They're more like on a satiny kind of level. I'm looking for sparkle. So yeah, I do love their mattes though. Their mattes are some of my favorites matte singles that I own. Sydney Grace just has a lovely, lovely formula and such beautiful muted tones. If you're looking for nudes of any kinds, whether they are light, medium, or deep, Sydney Grace is the place to go. Like they even separate them by color. That's how I kind of find what to add to my wish list, because I'm like, okay, let's look at browns, let's look at grays, let's look at reds and oranges and so on and so forth. So I picked 5. Obviously, it's not going to be the categories like I did for the shimmers because these are matte. So I'm just went for some that I feel like are very unique that you can't find anywhere, like in palettes or singles in general. I didn't really do like deep or light. I didn't separate them that way. I just went for very unique tones. First up is Regal. This one is a favorite. So one thing about Sydney Grace Cosmetics formula is that it's very hard pressed in the pan. So you will rarely experience any fallout. However, I've used this so much that I have a dip here. I know that it's probably very hard to notice, but it's like right there, dead center. Just because I've used it so much, I quite enjoy this shadow. This is a lovely, cool toned, Honestly, lilac-y mauve is the best way I could call it, because on me personally, it leans very purple, but very cool toned. I have yet to see anything like this in any of the palettes or singles that I own. This is a lovely, lovely cool, like this is very cool toned. It's not even neutral. It's super cool toned, and I quite enjoy it. I quite love it, and I feel like it's so unique, and everybody must have one in their collection if they're looking for this kind of tone. So yeah, this is my first recommendation. Second rec I have is Cali. Now, Cali on the pan looks like a very pale sky blue, but it's not. It's a very nice powder blue to very pale periwinkle kind of shadow. So it has a little bit of purple in it. It's not good. You're obviously, because it's a matte, so it's pretty flat, you know, compared to my shimmers. With the shimmers, it's like easier to determine like what kind of shifts it has from a pan, but here it's kind of hard. Like I see a little bit of purple when I hold it on my hand, but you guys probably with the lighting and everything shining on it, you're probably just seeing the blue, but you will see on my swatch that it leans a little purple. It's a lovely shadow. It's a very nice pastel. I feel like it will fill some kind of purpose or hole in your collection if you are lacking this kind of tone and you're really like looking for one. I think this is a perfect pastel. Next up is Haven, and this is a very pale muted pink. Again, the light is washing it out, but it's pinker in real life from what I see here, because you guys are probably again looking at the light, but I can't wait to swatch all of these. But this is very lovely. It's the kind of pink that I have yet to find in palettes, because while I love me a vivid pink, trust me, I love me a vivid pink, this kind of pink is almost closer to a flesh tone. You will see another one. Another one is more like fleshy, more of a fleshy pink. Haven is that perfect, like delicate, you know, feminine kind of pink, something that you can throw on the crease or on the lid if you're feeling a little like Bridgerton, Edwina kind of vibes. By the way, this shadow particularly reminds me so much of Edwina from season 2 in Bridgerton. It's exactly like the color of her gowns. Like she wears a lot of like soft pink gowns. This is a very her shade in my opinion. So yeah, if you're feeling like a princess, you know, like those very soft kind of pinky looks, this is the perfect matte shadow. This one is faithful, and this is the fleshier tone of pink that I was talking about. Again, you guys are seeing it a bit more washed out, but this one is a mid-toned, fleshy pink. I know that the word fleshy is disgusting, but truly that's how I can think of it, because it's muted, but a bit more nude. And this shadow kind of reminds me, again, of Charlotte Tilbury, kind of like the packaging and like those quads that she has. A lot of the tones that she has, like, this kind of reminds me of those. And again, the Sydney Grace formula is lovely and way cheaper on a sale than Charlotte Tilbury ever will be. So I quite enjoy this one. And even though it looks lighter on the pan, it pulls deeper than you might think. So again, wear it on the lid, crease, outer corner, whatever you're feeling like. Lovely, lovely formula, and I love this shade. One thing that Sydney Grace does very well is grays. And grays are so hard to find, like matte grays. We're talking matte gray. But Sydney Grace's grays have such nice differing tones. This one, for example, although it looks gray, it is a gray. Obviously, it is a gray, but this has a little bit of brown in it. On my lids, on me specifically, it pulls like cooler toned nude with a gray undertone. And again, depends what you pair it with. The reason why I find this one so lovely, it's because again, I find it very unique compared to some other grays in palette formulas, because I've been trying to find something like this and I don't have anything like this anywhere else but in the shadow. Like I can't find this particular tone, and I quite enjoy gray mattes. I feel like they're so versatile. I've been loving doing gray, like looks that contain gray this year, so I had to recommend the gray. I feel like Concrete Road is great, but trust me, they have some very light grays to some very, very dark grays. So if you are looking for something deeper than this, they have a great selection. But I thought to pick this one because it's quite unique in my opinion. But again, you can never go wrong with a Sydney Grace matte. Honestly, I love their mattes so freaking much. I wish they could do some more vivid colors because I feel like they're lacking some vivid colors in their selection. But when it comes to like muted tones, especially nudes, like I said, they excel at neutrals. And these are the colors that I'm recommending from Sydney Grace. As you can see, these two pinks are completely different. We have Regal, Cali, Haven, Faithful, and Concrete Road. As you can see, look at, I freaking love Regal. Regal is so pretty. It's so purpley. Look at Cali. As you can see, this is not just a pastel blue. There's some purpliness to it. And then Haven, oh, so pretty. See, Faithful next to Haven almost looks orange, but it's not. I feel like it's again closer to being a nude than a straight up orange, but you can tell the difference night and day. Very much Charlotte Tilbury. For those of y'all that are Charlotte Tilbury lovers, please let me know if you think the same as me. And here is Concrete Road. As you can see, there's a lot more brown to it than just it being a gray. So yeah, here's my selection of Sydney Grace. Next up is Dandelion, and very similarly to Sydney Grace, obviously I just picked 5 shadows. I didn't really go through the prompts like I did with the shimmers. So it's going to be 5 shadows. 4 of them are mattes. 1 of them is a shimmer. The only shimmer I have from Dandelions. Absolutely love that one. So I'm going to start with that one first. This is Powdered Sugar. I've talked about this shadow throughout the year quite a little bit. Absolutely love it. Have worn it on my eyes and as a highlighter as well. It's a purely white shimmer. There's no shifts to it. No pink, no green, no blue, no aqua, no orange, no nothing. No red, nothing. It's just purely white. It tends to be quite flaky, but honestly, that's what makes it so beautiful and unique in my opinion. I don't know much about Dandelion's shimmers. I wasn't really interested in them before, but when I saw this, I knew that this was a sparkly shimmer. This wasn't just a normal shimmer. And it's so delicate. It's so unique. Honestly, I have never found a just straight up white shimmer. I've seen plenty of pearly white shimmers, which I love. I'm a fan of, but never one that is just white, that has nothing else in it. Like no colorful multi-sparkles, no undertone of nothing. Like it's straight up white. Love it. It's so shimmery, so sparkly, so delicate. Back in July, I went to New York with my husband to go and see Swan Lake, and I wanted to do a white swan look, and this was the perfect shadow for it. Next up, this is Creampuff. I gotta say, Dandelions has really nice mattes, but just keep in mind that very opposite from Sydney Grace, they are very powdery because they are so soft. Like when you dip your brush, there's gonna be fallout in the pan and perhaps fallout on your face. Just to let you know, that to me is not a deal breaker, but if it is a deal breaker for you, you need to, you need to be made aware of that. So just be careful because they're also very delicate and they can break very easily. I mean, if you drop something with enough force on the ground, even the toughest of shadows can break, but just keep that in mind. The Dandelions mattes can be a little delicate. Now, coming back to the shadow, this is Creampuff. They had a collection. They released quite a few nudes. Again, from lightest to darkest. Love when brands do that. Creampuff is so lovely because it looks like a very light shadow and nothing impressive, but it has such a lovely tone. And I feel like whether you like to put it on the crease or you like to wear it on the lid, whatever your preference is, whatever your skin tone is, so you can use it for different purposes. This is a lovely shadow. And again, sometimes you need a light nude just to lighten things up or to blend. It doesn't need to be something that you have to use it for everything. It's not necessarily multifunctional, but it still can be a reliable shadow. Their formula is reliable and I quite love Creampuff. I've used it very often, especially in the beginning of the year when I was stuck doing just like everyday matte looks. This was going on my crease the entire time. Like I was so in love with the shadow. Next up, we have Spite. This is a lovely smoky purple. Do I love a smoky purple. They have 2, so I had to pick one. I have both of them. They have like 2 smoky purples that immediately caught my eye the moment they were released or the moment I became aware of the brand. This one is Spite, which is the more purple leaning one. This is more, I don't want to call it eggplant because it's not necessarily as vivid as like an eggplant purple is, but it's still very purpley, but I love the smokiness of it. It blends so well into cool toned nude eyeshadows. Like if you have a gray shadow going on or something that is like a little brownish but still cool, This just is a dream. It also goes very well with deeper blues. It can go well with warm tones. I can't imagine that it won't because it's very blendable, but I love it with cool. That's my favorite way to pair it with. Next up, we have Winkle. This is a very popular shade, I would say. I think this is the very first shade I was made aware of when I started getting into the brand. I feel like Winkle is a very popular, I feel like I've heard many YouTubers that were into indie makeup before I was even into indie makeup talk about it. So Winkle was one of the first shadow, actually the first shadow that I knew I wanted when I first made my order with Dandelions. Like I knew I had to try this one, and it's a lovely periwinkle blue. That's what it is. I'm assuming that's where the name comes from, Winkle. So it's super lovely. I love these kind of like unique colors. Again, something that you can't find in palettes. You have my attention. You have my wallet and my attention. And last but certainly not least, just like Winkle, I had heard about this shadow right here called Dijon. This is the best mustard matte shadow that I own in my collection, and honestly one of the very few ones I've seen. Maybe there is some other ones in the market, but this is the most mustardy one out of them all. I have not many, I don't think I have many mustards honestly in my collection because they're kind of hard to find. Honestly, it's a very underrated tone, but it's so unique. This one is very pigmented. Love me a Dandelions matte, all right? Like they always have my vote as some of the best mattes in my collection. This one is super lovely. Again, very mustardy. Honestly, if you're looking for your perfect mustard shadow, this is it. I don't think you'll find it anywhere else but this one. Dijon is perfect. I cannot wait for you guys to see the swatches. Here are the shadows that I'm recommending from Dandelions. These are literally so easily swatchable because I could just dip my finger in them and they immediately, like, there's pigment on my finger, enough to do the swatches. Look at that white. So one thing I forgot to mention probably about the white is that it's very dispersed. It kind of reminds me, it's like the more concentrated version of How Many Carats from Fenty Beauty. It's, again, see, there's no undertone to it. It's just purely white and, again, very flaky, but you can blend it into like flakes if you really are into that kind of look. But this is Creampuff, Spite, Winkle, and Dijon. Look, see what I mentioned about Spite? It's like a very deeper purple, but it has a little bit of blue in it, but not as much blue as that other shadow from them that I mentioned, Vex. Then we have Winkle, has a little bit of purple in it, just a little bit. And then Dijon, which is the perfect mustard. But yeah, these are my recommendations from Devinah Cosmetics. Talking about Blend Bunny, I will be recommending obviously palettes from them. That's their star product, and I have picked 3 only. And it was so hard to pick. I don't really have a logic for picking these 3 palettes. I just thought, ooh, if somebody has some Blend Bunny palettes and is missing any of these, I feel like they would fit a collection well. I love their formula across the board, especially their matte formula. I mean, I don't shut the F up about it. So I thought that's how I would go about it. First one has to be my favorite one of them all. Yeah, this is my favorite Blend Bunny palette ever. It's their first palette, so it's very fitting. I feel like this is Blends. Do not judge the state of her.
That look of this stadium.
Okay, she has been beat up and used and abused and loved for years now. Our 3-year anniversary is coming up in January of 2025. So this is a love story. This is an all matte palette. This is the rainbow palette to have. I think the tones of every color family have been split in a beautiful way, ranging from dark to light and a mid-tone too, so you can use them however you want. If you're the kind of person that really loves monochromatic looks and you're like, I don't want to be mixing colors and doing all that, I just want to do a blue look and I'm feeling like doing a blue look and that's about it, there you go. You got your blues, you got your purples, you got your pink, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, this palette, although it could push your creativity to mix tones and colors,
you could still stick with the monochromatics if you really don't feel like doing too much. And you could just even do a simple look that is all matte. If you're really feeling like doing an all matte look, you can just do this on the lid, this on the crease, this outer corner, or whatever. Or you can do a gradient, or you can do a liner with the darkest shade and smudge it out with the two lighter shades and then pop one in the crease and be good to go. You see what I mean? There's so many possibilities and opportunities to create amazing looks with this palette. And I've used it a lot, as you can see. And then you're going to make a great point and you're going to say, but Hairsa, this is an all matte palette. Where the heck am I going to find my shimmers? Well, if you're watching this video, maybe you are interested in getting some singles, or maybe you already have some. I know a lot of y'all that watch my channel, y'all are single lovers just like me. So if you have the shimmers and you find the shimmers from somewhere else, like you have, let's say, Touch of Glam Beauty Shimmers or Shine by SD, whatever, whichever brand you're into, you can get those shimmers and create beautiful looks with this palette. This palette just completes your collection. Now, obviously, there's going to be tones that you might want that you can find in this palette. At the end of the day, this doesn't have, every tone in the world ever, but I feel like it's a great rainbow palette to get started with, and you can find any color you want. Again, if you want very specific tones, yeah, obviously you might have to source that from different brands, but this is a great staple. This is a staple product. My favorite from Blend Bunny. I feel like it's going to be hard to beat. This is a first love for me. So absolutely love it. Absolutely recommend it. If you get one and you don't have any Blend Bunny, I always say the blends. I always say blends. If you're a beginner with Blend Bunny, blends is always going to be my answer. Now, you know I had to recommend a neutral, right? I'm not a neutrals girly, but I knew that some of y'all might be looking for neutrals. I recommended neutrals throughout my singles, so of course I'm going to go for a neutral palette too. All Done Up it's a neutrals palette done right. Because when you look at it, you see neutrals, right? But the thing that I have a problem with other brands when they do neutrals, it's like they only do warm browns. And I get it, okay? I know a lot of people love their warm browns and everything, but we have so many, okay, out there in the market. There's so many warm tone browns. I get it, okay? I get it. They're easy to use and everything, and it's like a comfort color for a lot of people. But give us something more, okay? And the reason why I love this palette so much is that we have white, gray, and black, which I love that. Neutrals doesn't mean only warm tones. Neutrals means something that is a nude, right? Whether it's a light nude, dark nude, medium tone nude, whatever. This is what this palette provides. And it provides these sagey greens, which I love because for a lot of people, I feel like even for me, sometimes a muted green can be almost a neutral, almost a spicy neutral. Then we have these like mustardy tones and these poopy browns. These are very poopy, I will say. And I love them. This poopy means like really good in this situation. These are murky browns. And I say that with all the love in my heart because I love a murky brown. These tones are very hard to find in any palette, and especially in this kind of gradient. Love, absolutely love. So when I say poopy, I mean good. I love that kind of tone because it's so unique. Then you have this one right here, which is a little reddish, a little bit more warmer. And there you go. You have your warm browns here still. I feel like this is a great palette. And I know this turned into a rant on like neutral palette out there in the market, but I love this palette. I think it's very well done. I love how the deep shades like match up with colors in their rows so well. And these shimmers, I feel like these are the first shimmers that I tried from Blend Bunny, and I was like, oh my god, she has stepped up her formula so much. I absolutely love them all. So if you're a neutrals person and you want something that is not like anything out there in the market, All Done Up. All Done Up is the palette for you. And last but certainly not least, my recommendation is going to be Sickly Sweet. I debated a lot between this palette and another one, but I'll tell you why I picked Sickly Sweet. So first of all, this is their pastel heavy palette. I gotta say, I love this palette. Now, when it first released, I was about it because of like the scattered tones, because we are used to Blend Bunny doing the gradient. But once I got it, first of all, I knew that her pastels would be amazing, and they're very pastel. When they say pastel, they mean pastel. Like a lot of these colors, although they look, for example, this shade particularly right here, because when I used it for the first time, I was like shocked. This looks like a very pale pink, right? You can use this on the crease. It's so pale, like it has so much white in it, which is what pastels are. Like pastels are colors with a lot of white base in it, so to make them so light. And the reason why I picked this palette is because I think these pastels are amazing. I think they're great quality, and I love the fact that they included so many deep tones like gloom and doom, cry if I want to, melancholy, brooding, spooky, and morose. There's some other mid tones in the palette, but these ones are very deep, which makes it so user-friendly for anybody with any skin tone. Because I know pastels can be very intimidating. And that's the reason why All this to say, that's the reason why I'm recommending this palette particularly, because pastels are intimidating, but you need good quality pastels to realize that, oh, pastels are cool. I can work with pastels. I like pastels. And I think this is the palette that you need if you really want to dab into pastels, but you're still a little scared. I say go for this one. I love their matte formula. Again, no secret there, but I love this shimmer formula here. This is her improved shimmer formula. I am a Sagittarius. I'm gonna get you out of your comfort zone. And if pastels are out of your comfort zone, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to get you out of it. I'm recommending this palette. And I really hope that whichever choice you make, I really hope you enjoy. And this goes for all brands, not just Blend Bunny. And this is it, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed these recommendations. I would love to hear what recommendations you got for me, or if there's anything in your wish list that happens to be in this video, and if it was any helpful for you, please let me know. I'd love to have discussions with y'all in the comments. I love when you guys comment. It just truly makes my day. But yeah, I hope that you have a good Black Friday. I hope you get anything that you wish. I hope nothing goes out of stock, okay? And please do not stress out. Those products are going to be there. Other sales are coming up. Don't you worry about it. You know, let's just have fun. This is it for me, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm sure I'll see you soon. Bye.